Good morning, guys. It is Friday, November 8th, 2024. This Bathrobe business. I got the coffee and I got the news. So it's kind of another slow news day in regards to business. Everything is still very much dominated by the election. So because of that, I don't have too much to talk about. I just have about three stories I want to highlight that have greater market impact. But other than that, I'm probably just going to leave it short and sweet today. So first story let's talk about. Let's jump into the fact that, oh, my screen's not sharing. Da-da-da-da-dum. Okay. So the Fed is cutting interest, or did cut interest rates yesterday. So that didn't really come as too much of a surprise. I thought there might be a pause, seeing as how they did half a percentage cut last time, but apparently not. So they went quarter basis points, so 0.25%. In addition to the 0.5% they did last month. So we're down already 0.75 for the year, and they're saying there's going to be another one in December. So we'll be a full percentage down in just about 3 months. That's pretty crazy. There's not much else to the story other than that. Everybody is talking about if Jerome Powell will step down under Trump, and if he'll get pressure from Trump, and he says no, he'll stay steadfast. Nobody gives a crap about that. That's a nonsense story, seeing as how you were put in place by Trump to begin with. But two, you're doing exactly what he wants. He wants lower interest rates. You've been cutting interest rates. There's no reason to move you out of the position you're already in. So again, mostly a nonsense story. Those that watch the channel frequently know that I am against these moves of cutting interest rates. I do not think it's good for the economy. It helps Wall Street and not Main Street. If you're interested, you can comment below and I'll explain why. But looks like there's no choice in the matter. It's happening one way or another. Now, as a reaction, of course, we've already seen changes in the commodities market. So when Trump first got elected, because of a strengthening dollar, this was what, Wednesday, gold fell drastically by almost $100. And I even made the prediction that I think this affects the chances of it hitting 3,000 this year, which is not just my prediction, but the prediction of many people, including like Goldman Sachs. But now it does appear as if it's probably back on track, because the minute that interest rates were cut, and they're going to be cut again in December, apparently, gold skyrocketed. It went back above 2,700 and will probably continue its climb, especially given the current prognosis. In addition, crypto is up as well. So Bitcoin is above 75,000, almost at 76. Let's see what the chart has to say. 1 second, it's loading. Yeah. So gold, crypto is once again near its all-time high. Looks like it hit 75,892. So once again, hitting all-time highs. Not a surprise. This isn't in response to Trump. This is a direct response into the Fed cutting into this market. Like I said, I'm strongly against this, but there's not much we can do. It seems to be happening one way or another. Last story I'm going to share, again, it's very kind of short and sweet today, is about Steve Madden. So Steve Madden, they make shoes. I have some of their shoes. I think some boots. They're not bad. Steve Madden is moving production out of China to avoid Trump tariffs. Now, I think this is another one of those nonsense stories that media publish because it sounds trendy, when I think the story is much more complicated than it is. I would suspect this move was on track to happen regardless, and it just happens to coincide, or the announcement was made after Trump was elected. Because simply the way these articles put it, of, oh, Trump's in power, they're going to move production out. A lot of these production chains are not flip on a switch and flip off a switch movement. These are massive changes to supply chains and infrastructure, etc. One of the things that people underestimate with China is they're like, they stole our jobs, and they think it's all about wages, and it's not. It's much more complicated than that. China has not been the cheapest manufacturing place on earth in decades. It's been Mexico, it's been India, it's been Africa, there's been, you name it. One of the reasons that China excelled so well is because the Communist Party is amazing at central planning. Every Communist Party is. They were in Russia, they are in China. And what they did was, when they decided to go, let's say, fascist, because that's essentially what the Communist Party of China did. They went from socialism and communism to fascism, because fascism isn't about being a Nazi. It's simply about the unification between state and private business. What they did was they built out massive manufacturing lines, massive supply chains. So there is massive infrastructure to support manufacturing in every single way, from railroads to roads to shipping yards to electrical grids to material supply chains. They built this out so that anybody could come into this market and start to manufacture. So, for example, with the Steve Madden shoes, I'm sure there's production lines that are making the fabric and are nearby to the facility. I'm sure there are transport lines that are carrying it from the factory to the ports and with a quick turnaround process and customs. So when these things happen, it's so much more complicated than just flipping a switch. Because when people say, "Well, we're going to reshore jobs," when you reshore just the shoes alone, you're going to have to build out infrastructure for those shoes. You're going to have manufacturing in place that is a support structure just to make the shoes. Where are the sewing machines coming from? Where are the materials coming from? Where is the transportation? How is it distributed? All that needs to be built out. There's an interesting experiment out there about a guy who tried to make a light bulb from scratch, or somebody that tries to cook some kind of recipe from scratch. It shows you how complicated it is because the supply chains are so much in the background and so much given as a standard that you don't actually think about it. So that's why when people say, "Well, we can go to Mexico, we can go to Vietnam, we can go to Africa and manufacture cheaper," you can on a labor basis, but how are you going to build out that infrastructure? So that's why I highlight stories like this, because even though this has happened post-Trump, this was probably on the docket for a while, because you don't just move manufacturing from one area to another. You have to figure out how you're going to manufacture in that area before you ever make these moves. And anytime somebody talks about reshoring, this is what we have to talk about: is how are we going to be able to build out an infrastructure to support our manufacturing. That's pretty much it. That's the stories of the day. I hope you guys have a productive Friday and a great weekend, and I'll see you guys back here Monday. Bye.